Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
If you woke up tomorrow a billionaire, what would you do with the money? Check which currency it's in. May I interest you in some Disney dollars? Can't buy weed and pussy with Disney dollars. Start a podcast on how you too could become an overnight billionaire. Haha, this is so accurate. Don't forget your book of condescending lessons about how being a billionaire is a choice. First 10 pages can be downloaded for free, and if you sign up for my online one-day life coach course, you'll receive an autographed copy of my New York Times bestseller, 17 Sleep Hacks to Wake Up a Billionaire. Go to a 5-star hotel, take a shower and wash away the poverty one last time. Dreams of a peasant. You're a billionaire now. Act like it. Buy the 5-star hotel. Act like the dreams. Buy the peasant. Fuck the 5-star hotel. This is real Sigma. Disappear. Yeah, I would do a lot of things, but first I would effectively disappear. Probably head to the nicest hotel in NYC and find well-known legal, accounting, and investment firms that are accustomed to dealing with wealthy people. A trust will need to be created to protect the money. Then I would leverage these business connections to personally connect with other wealthy people for recommendations for necessities like an assistant, security detail, transportation, etc. Once I've got all my ducks in a row to stabilize my life, I would embark on a journey of trying to bring positive change to the world with whatever resources I can sustainably throw at it. Me too. I'll hide at one of those 5-star Central Park adjacent hotels and use my father's name to check in. Then I'll have the concierge get me a limo to the toy store. I'd honestly just lay in bed and catch up on some well-needed sleep first, LMAO, as long as no one knew. My first thought too. Sleep in, order some food and browse Zillow, sorting from high to low. Retire my parents. Pay their loans. Buy them each their dream car and then retire myself to a big cabin in the Alps. With some smart investing on the side. $1 billion wouldn't even need smart investing. It's an unfathomably large amount of money. It'd be a legitimate challenge to spend even a quarter of it. Even if it's in an absolutely terrible bank account earning only 1% interest. You'd still be accruing $10 million every year. Exactly. You don't even need to invest it and you are set for generations. I've always said that if it was $1 billion, I would disappear and, hidden, I would send $1 MUSD to all the people that have impacted positively in my life, which is like less than 100. Set my parents and I'd still have 80% plus of the money and already set the life of everyone I know, lol. Go to a local hole-in-the-wall diner and tip 1,000 on some pancakes. Do you work at a hole-in-the-wall diner that serves pancakes? Are you an overnight billionaire who wants pancakes? Swim in it like Scrooge McDuck. It's not a liquid, it's a great many pieces of solid matter that form a hard floor-like surface. Use a very small amount of your billion to buy a massive amount of golden foam coins and house them in a silo. Hire someone and make their entire job to manage a money pit adjacent to the silo and keep the fake gold coins at the level that if the coins were real the amount would correspond to the current value of your net worth. Swim in it whenever you want symbolically. Put in the bank and get ludicrous amounts of interest. So my bank balance increases at a rate greater than I can spend. I inherited a good load of money last year that I didn't know I was getting. Know what I did with most of it? Invested it long term for that sweet passive income. Nobody even knows I have it. Hey, you're really hot. We should get married right now without a prenup. Invest it in an index fund. The rates will be way better and also pretty safe. It's low risk but not no risk. Bet it all on red. Put it all on 41. I've got a feeling about that number. Sir, the wheel only goes to 36. Okay, put it all on 36. I've got a feeling about that number. This reads like a Futurama joke. Finally, be able to take a deep breath out from under all my worry and stress. I'd probably sleep for 2 days straight. I'd have such a hard time spending it, though. You would have to try really hard to spend $1 billion. It's so much money that you can hardly wrap your brain around it. Losing it to lawsuits and grifters is more likely. Most people can't even conceive what $1 billion is. Try it like this. If you spent $1 million by spending $1 per second, it would take a little over 11 days, while $1 billion would take a little over 31 years. Two sheiks at the same time, man. As Rodney Dangerfield once said, that way, if I get tired, they can talk to each other. Quote, you don't need to be rich for that. When you look like me, you do. You don't need $1 billion to do nothing. Take a look at my cousin. He's broke, don't do shit. It doesn't hurt. Buy my mortgage, probably quit my job, buy a Veilside RX-7, travel more. Probably quit your job, like it's a thought. Maybe I'll work my same job with 9-figure number in the bank. I would quit my job before anything else, probably before spending a single dollar. I would try to create some affordable housing in my city. I'd take it one step further than that and tank the real estate market in my area. I'm almost positive there's some sort of reverse antitrust law that protects landlords in the area from something like that. Maybe I'm just cynical, but it seems like most of the rules in America are geared towards protecting those who are already winning, and anything that could disrupt the status quo would be met with pushback. Pay off my bills. Put away a nice nest egg. Then drop off pallets of cash at kids' hospitals. Honestly, why not? You could live on a fraction of that money and still live an incredibly privileged life. Why not use most of it to spread some good in the world? 1% of it is 10 million. I could retire comfortably on 1 million. 10 million would be a joke. If I was a billionaire, I'd give 99% away, at least. Or I'd do something like invest it and set up a non-profit and just draw down 7% every year to help people. Or I'd do something insane like anonymously pay off the mortgage of everyone in my town. Pay off all debt and enjoy a minute or two of just being debt-free after all the years. Buy a bunch of apartments and rent them at affordable rates to try to drive the local cost if living down. Probably give a good portion away, and keep like 250 million. Cause after a certain point, does it really matter if I have 250 million or 2 billion? I'd set my immediate family and best friends up for life, and then I'd spend just about all the rest on buying and preserving wild lands and paying people to protect it. I'm surprised this type of answer hasn't shown up more here. So many people struggle, so yeah, of course, take care of yourself. I guess that's to be expected, but the sheer scale of a billion defies belief. One could do an absurd amount more than set myself up and make sure my parents, immediate family, are taken care of, with billions of dollars. Wipe out those Stanley Cups from existence and see some people have a meltdown. I keep thinking people are talking hockey goal net ice hockey. I thought the exact same thing while reading a post. Why the fuck would Starbucks have mini ice hockey Stanley Cups? Start a tiny home business with a mission to combat the housing crisis, feudal rent entrapment. Overinflated cost of housing. If you stack the tiny homes on top of each other and besides with good noise and thermal insulation, you get to a good and affordable solution for housing. You could even put restaurants, coffees and shops in the lowest floors so people have shorter ways to shops. A tiny home business. As a billionaire, you can probably afford an office. Tiny homes are not an efficient use of space. If you really wanted to make a difference, apartments really are the way. By running and operating as a non-profit, you can keep rents down and potentially layer with a co-op to allow an ownership element as well. Convert unused buildings into affordable housing and homes for the homeless. Unfortunately, it would quickly turn into a disease-riddled drug den. Send in some social workers and NA meetings. It won't fix everything, but it'll help to have support. Deleted. Most billionaires don't actually have that much money lying around relative to their net wealth. I think the ones that do often are making significant contributions to good causes, even if it's not homelessness in first world countries. E.g., the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has spent huge amounts of money trying to solve diseases and the world's clean energy problems. In the end, though, no matter how much someone does do, if people think they are still rich, then they will never be universally seen as good. I'd become a supervillain, but to other rich people. I'd buy golf courses and turn them into affordable housing or nature reserves, and I'd twiddle my mustache with a shit-eating grin like I tied some sap to some railroad tracks. Buy politicians. What are you going to do with the other 999,960,000? You got that right. They're cheap whores. It always amazes me how senators and top officials will sell out the country for a few tens of thousands of dollars. Pathetic. Let my parents have a better life. They're quite good now but deserve better. Buy all the property around Mar-a-Lago and put in low-income housing. Nah, you don't need to disadvantage poor people by making them leave near Mar-a-Lago. You need to open pig farms. Move to the English countryside, buy houses for my family members, and try to help in some way. Maybe build tiny homes for homeless people. Also buy name brand food lol. What's the infatuation with tiny houses for homelessness? I do not get this. My town just spent a ridiculous amount of money on tiny houses and it was enough to house 50 people. The same amount of money could have been used to renovate a couple old hotels, motels into efficiencies and would house hundreds of people. Why is everyone going for tiny houses when you can do much more good with apartments? Maybe they don't know that's an option. I surely didn't, so thank you for putting it here. Sounds like a good investment. Open a science museum focused on play and hands-on experiences. The Strong Museum of Play exists, and I've been there. Not saying you shouldn't open another, because I love this idea and that place was a blast. Buy new tarps for my roof. I like what one of my coworkers suggested. I take the 20 people I have nothing against at work in my department of 25 and I tell each of them. They get $5 million each. That way they each have at least $3 million in their bank account after all taxes and whatnot. But here are the stipulations. We all quit the same day. One at time. On the spot. No 2-week notice. When they inevitably ask each person why they are quitting, all they are allowed to do is this. This is me being petty. I was passed over for a promotion purely political reasons, and when I calmly asked about it in a review, I got that stupid fucking shrug as a response. They are never allowed to go back to work for our company. For 5 years after leaving, whenever they see one of those 5 people in public, they must do that shrug. This is a hilarious level of petty yet also generous, and I love it. Buy my mortgage, then demolish and rebuild my house how I want it to be. Need to dream bigger. $1 billion. Who cares about current home lol. I'd just put my house on the market even though my mortgage is already paid off. Then buy a $4-5 million house in the nicest neighborhood where I live. I have a solid attachment to my home.